Welcome back to the Nurse Tori Show, where I'm talking about all things health and wellness so you can stop being confused about how to take care of your body and start crushing your goals with confidence. It's the week before the inauguration. Bobby Kennedy has not yet been confirmed, but we are really excited about the MAHA movement over here. And today we're going to be talking about sugar cravings. And I thought this was really appropriate because so many of you struggle with sugar cravings. One of my favorite topics to cover because it's such a common complaint that I hear from you and my one-on-one weight loss clients, but it's actually an easy problem to solve when you understand what's causing them. With the MAHA movement, you're going to be hearing a lot about metabolic health, and the cornerstone of metabolic health is blood sugar control, which is why you hear me talking about it all the time. When you understand how to control your blood sugar, then you will be able to lose weight and keep it off without giving up your favorite foods. That's the sweet spot. It's also a really important part of hormone health and decreasing inflammation. And inflammation is what is driving our chronic disease epidemic in this country. So you're going to hear me talking about it a ton. And I want to explain it to you in a really simple way using the topic of sugar cravings. All right, let's get to it. First, I want to say sugar cravings are not a willpower problem. They are a fuel problem. And if you struggle with sugar cravings for a long time, you're going to say, no way, I am addicted to sugar, because I hear it all the time. But here's what I also hear. A few days after teaching my new clients how to control their blood sugar, I always get comments like this. Oh my gosh, I wasn't hungry after breakfast for like 5 hours. I've never felt that way in my life. I was able to get so much work done. Or I added more protein to my lunch today and I wasn't hungry until dinner. What is this wizardry? Or I added a piece of fruit to my pre-workout meal and I crushed my workout. Those are comments that I hear all the time when I teach clients how to fuel their body appropriately. All that really means is how to balance your blood sugar. When I talk about fuel, I want you to just think, okay, fueling my body, turning the food that I'm eating into fuel for my body to use. So when we hear about metabolic dysfunction, that's really what's happening. It's a breakdown in our body's ability to use the food we're eating as fuel. Okay, let me explain to you how this happens. We got protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Okay, those are the three macronutrients your body can use for fuel. Your body prefers carbohydrates, okay, and carbohydrates also have the greatest impact on your blood sugar. Again, which makes sense. If they're your body's preferred source of fuel, they are going to have the greatest impact on fueling your body or your blood sugar. Let me explain to you what happens when you eat a carbohydrate. Okay, let's say you eat an apple. Healthy source of carbohydrates, high fiber source of carbohydrates, right? You eat the apple, your body breaks it down, your blood sugar goes up, okay? The carbohydrates from that apple now become a source of fuel for your body to use. Then your body produces a hormone called insulin. It's our storage hormone. It is actually the key that unlocks the door to your cell to allow that sugar that you just ate from that apple into your cells to be used as energy. It's a beautiful thing, right? So your blood sugar goes up when you eat the apple, your body puts out all this insulin, your body's using that fuel, and now your blood sugar comes back down. And that is a normal pattern for blood sugar. And what happens when your blood sugar comes back down? You feel hungry again. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, okay? It's telling you, hey man, you got to refuel. You got to go back to the gas station and get more carbs. We need more fuel, please. Okay. What's the problem? If you are eating high sugar foods all the time, if your blood sugar spikes are frequent, that will also cause frequent low blood sugars. And over time, you wear out the communication system between insulin and your cells. So then that leads to insulin resistance. If you have been struggling with intense sugar cravings for years, and if you're low energy and you're having trouble losing weight, maybe your hormones are all over the place, it might be because you have imbalanced blood sugar. And it might be because you have insulin resistance, maybe even prediabetes or diabetes. That's why it is helpful to go get your labs done and talk to your doctor about that. Because elevated blood sugar will then lead to obesity, diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. That's what we know. Because elevated blood sugar causes inflammation. You guys, if you're hearing this and you're frustrated, I want you to flip that around right now and think, oh my gosh, wait, there is something I can do about this. I have a mini course. It's $37 because I wanted everyone to have access to it. It's called The Sugar Solution. It teaches you much more about this from A to Z and how to include carbohydrates without giving up all your favorite foods, because that is really the sweet spot. When you give up all of your foods, then it leads to a restriction binge cycle, hello January, where we've given up all our favorite foods and all the alcohol and all the things. And then February, where we don't do any of it. Or another example would be during the week, you're being quote unquote good. And on the weekend, all you do is eat pizza and donuts. Okay, so it's that restrict binge cycle that we want to avoid. We want to learn how to include cookies on a Wednesday. How do I include pasta and pizza because it's my favorite? How do I include those things, still balance my blood sugar so that I can improve my overall metabolic health and make sure that I'm not going to develop chronic disease? Okay, so check that out. It's in the show notes. And if you're listening to this, if you're like, oh my gosh, this sounds great, but I really need a lot more help with all this, I have a one-on-one coaching program for women, so you can feel free to jump into that too. The link to apply is also in the show notes. Who needs more carbohydrates? Well, people with muscle and people who are very active. Why? Your muscle requires a lot more energy than fat. So that's why when you're young and active and you're muscular, you're great. Your metabolism is fine because you have muscle and you can eat 4 pieces of pizza and it doesn't have that great of an impact on you because the muscle you have is using that fuel. But in our 30s, we start to lose muscle. We're not as active. Our hormones maybe start to change if we're women. And all of a sudden, we are not using fuel the way we used to. And that can then lead to cravings, low energy, weight gain, hormone imbalances, insulin resistance, and even chronic disease like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. And we don't want that. 3 tips for reducing sugar cravings. First one, stop eating carbohydrates by themselves. Okay. This is not serving you well. You're going to get the spike in your blood sugar and then it's going to come crashing down because you need to eat protein, fat, and fiber with those carbohydrates to slow down the absorption. And so you have a nice steady rise and fall of your blood sugar. This is going to give you really sustained energy throughout the day. Number 2, swap your processed carbohydrates for high fiber, real food sources. Get breakfast. Let's say you're having eggs for breakfast and you're going to have a side of avocado and you're going to do a bagel. Instead of the bagel, do a side of berries. So you're getting carbohydrates that your body desperately wants and needs, but you're getting fiber, the protein, fat, and fiber that's going to give you long sustained energy. And so you don't have to get rid of everything in your pantry, but start looking at labels. And if it's got significant amount of added sugar, those are great items to make swaps for. Okay, my third one, and this is maybe the one most of you need to hear. Stop skipping meals. Stop skipping meals and get enough carbohydrates at each meal. If you are not fueling your body with enough carbohydrates, your car is going to break down on the side of the road. Okay, it needs more carbohydrates. So make sure you're getting enough. And when you skip a meal, you're setting yourself up for overeating later. Hopefully you guys are encouraged after hearing this and you think, wow, I have struggled with sugar cravings my entire life, but no one's ever explained it to me like this. I actually think I have a fuel problem. And there is a habitual element to sugar cravings, right? It's like you feel like you always have to have something. When you eat sugar, it gives you a big fat dopamine hit, okay? Dopamine is the feel-good, do-it-again neurotransmitter that happens in our brain. We have to understand that our brain is hardwired to want to eat sugar. But when you are fueling your body appropriately, now you're not getting the physical symptoms of low blood sugar. So once you fuel your body, then you're able to make better choices. It's not to say you're never going to want sugar again, but you're going to then be able to make a conscious choice on how to include that in a way that is going to work for your goals. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave a 5-star review. It helps so much. Send it to your friends and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. No matter how you're feeling about your health right now, your body is not broken and it is worth taking care of. We just have to keep going. Okay, I'll see you on the next one.